Hello, and welcome to Designer Discussions with Miriam, Jason, and Maria. Today, we're speaking with Jason about your number one referral tool for your business.
Welcome to the Designer Discussions podcast with
Jason,
Maria,
and Miriam. Tune in each week where we talk about marketing, PR, and business advice for design professionals.
Maria, thank you. So this is a topic we just went over in the academy. And so this was on email marketing. We spent a month actually talking about email marketing. So I'm going to hand you some highlights of what happened over the month. So ultimately, Maria said referral tool. That's apropos to what email really is, because outside of referrals, which usually is a designer's number one lead magnet, email, if done right, should be number two, even over SEO and PPC, because it does not cost a lot. It takes a little bit of time, but if you're consistent at it, it will get you leads. So what we talked about, I'm going to be high level, but if you want to know all that we did, you have to join the academy, and I'll talk more about that at the end. But what we talked about, I have first talked about why you need to have an email list. Okay. Your email list is vital to you growing because it helps you, just like a referral campaign, it helps you even when you're asleep, even with individuals you know nothing about. Because oftentimes we work with a lot of designers that have gotten a lot of jobs from email marketing from individuals they didn't even know. It was people on their list that shared the email with either their neighbor, their coworker, or anything else. And then that's how they reached out to the designer and got the job. So email marketing can work if done right. First thing, you have to understand your why and your audience. Okay. Knowing why you're doing email, okay, and who the audience is. So is it your current clients, past clients? Is it manufacturers? Is it family and friends? Is it other designers? I can go on and on with the list. But who is the audience that you're creating the email for? Once you know the audience, now you need to create the content to that audience. And to do that, you need to use the 80-20 rule. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the 80-20 rule. We've talked with a lot of designers that did not believe in email. And they said, I've done email for X amount of months or X amount of years, never got any open rates or conversions or anything like that. Oftentimes, when we look at the content in their email, it's all self-promotion. One designer that we work with, she was a world-class designer, did amazing work, and sent the email out for over a year. Her open rate was under 8%. Hardly anybody clicked on any of the attachments in the email. And this happened over time. When she first did the email, she had like a 40% open rate. Then over months, it actually dropped to 20%. Then it dropped to 10%. And then when we looked at it, it was at 8%. You want to know the reason why? Self-promotion. When we read the email, it was all about her, what she did, all of the amazing projects she did, but it never spoke to her audience. And it never communicated value about what they wanted to learn and what they wanted to know about. It was all about her, what she did, and her amazing career, which is amazing for a book, not for an email campaign. So you need to understand your audience, who they are, and then write content that is aimed at them. This is where the 80-20 rule comes in. 80% of the content in your email needs to be about value to your email list, your audience. The other 20% could be self-promotion, but the 20% self-promotion needs to be tied into the 80%. For example, if you have an audience that is homeowners and they're wanting to know what is the typical cost of a home remodel, okay, and you actually have an article or you have content and information about that. The other 20% can be about a project you did where you worked with a homeowner that had budget constraints that you were able to design within what they had and design an amazing project. So that ties in because you're actually talking about the budget constraints where the initial 80% was about what's the typical cost of a home remodel. And you showed in the project, you told a story in the 20% how you did the project within the budget constraints and you did an amazing project. So even though you're not up front saying this is what we did, we're amazing designers, we did XYZ, you're explaining that 20% into the 80% value. That's what you have to do. If you do that over time, you will get more people wanting to hear what you have to say because they're now listening and reading about the value you provide. And now they're now listening to what you have to say in the 20% and taking action. That's the one thing that we saw over all of designers that we've worked with in the past that have done email is that they never adhere to the 80-20 rule. So that's the first thing, adhere to that 80-20 rule. Next, you want to look at segmenting your lists. Now, this may sound like a lot of work. And to be honest, a few years ago it was, where if you have designers, you do an email for them. If you have homeowners, an email for them. Vendors and manufacturers, an email for them. You have current clients, an email for them. And then it's maybe all around the same topic, but it's slightly altered to the audience. And you may say, man, that's a lot of work. I got to do all this writing and content for everybody. In the past, like I said, it was. Now with AI, it's simple. You could put that copy into AI and tell it how you want to structure that for this new audience and the information you want to provide in there. It will spit out content to you that you can edit, make it your own for the next audience. Honestly, what we went over in the academy, we showed them how to spend about a half hour to change that one email, segment that to another list and send it out. This actually helps your open rate because now you're personalizing the content. And at the end of the day, in terms of SEO, email, whatever it is, what is happening today with AI is created a lot of noise, but it's emphasized personalizing content. And when you can personalize your email, now you have more people wanting to open the email, wanting to engage, and ultimately convert. One of the other items we talked about is making sure your email goes through. One of the ways is to look at your domain, okay? What you want to do, you want to make sure your domain name, wherever you're sending the email out from, is authenticated. So this is easy to do. Talk with your email service provider, your ESP. Ask them, have they authenticated your domain for email? So DMARC, making sure the DMARC records are there, making sure you have the DKIM records. Now, this may sound odd and you may not understand, but talk to whoever sends out your email, whoever your email service provider is, ask them, have they authenticated your domain name? If not, ask them if they can either do it or help you. Some providers will actually do it automatically on your behalf. Others will walk you through the process, but this is vital. This ensures your email gets through the spam filters and into an email box as opposed into spam. So if you have not done this, you may have a large aspect or a large portion of your emails heading to spam, and you may not even know it. So making sure your domain name is authenticated is vital, okay? Like I said, we had talked about all of this in the academy, and what we also did is we worked with each of the members. We looked over all of their emails and helped them to get over a 25% open rate, because that is what the industry average is, about a 25% open rate. When we worked with them last month, our goal was within 90 days was to have each of them have an open rate over 25%. That's something we can help you with as well, but all you got to do is join the academy. If you're interested, I'll have all the information in the show notes. And this is just one of the topics that we talk about monthly in the academy. Like I said, last month it was on email. We're going to be talking about AI, web design, ER, regional press, and the like. So if you're interested in joining the wait list that will open in October, look in the show notes so you can add your name and email there, and we'll be happy to have you. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about on this episode, and we hope to hear and see you in 2 weeks on Designer Discussions.
Your business is unique and your marketing should be too. Discover how to personalize your approach for SEO, PR, and beyond to attract more of the clients you love to work with. In our Academy membership, with us Designer Discussions podcast hosts as your personal coaches, we show you how to customize your marketing. With weekly live sessions, an exclusive community, practical resources, and expert guidance, we're here to simplify your marketing and boost your business. Sign up at designerdiscussions.com or follow the link in the show notes.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Designer Discussions and all of the helpful information. Subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. We look forward to having you back next week. For more information on the podcast and the marketing studio, visit designerdiscussions.com and follow us on social media.